Hey everyone, welcome to Archer's Garage, and this episode is an extension of the SuperClean. I'm sorry guys, it's just been really busy. I know I'm like so far behind with the SuperClean giveaway. Yes, somebody won, and stay tuned, and we'll be announcing who won and in this video series, right? This is the 1988 Caldor MTD. It's that red tractor that I said that we were going to go over. So this is the first part in that series, and somewhere in that series, right, in this series, I want to say maybe there's 3 parts to it, whatever. Anyway, stick with us. We will announce who won. You know, I just love that. I work in a shop, so what can I say, guys? There's always some noise in here. Anyway, somebody won. I'm not going to say who it is yet. Keep watching, and let's get to it. We're going to go over this. It's a 1988 Caldor. What does that mean? Caldor, for some of you may not know, but Caldor was a big box store. Kind of like Depot and everything before Depot came here to like Long Island. My friend Brian Kerr, hey Kerr, right? I asked him about it, and he's down in Carolina. And he's a little older than me. He remembers Caldor. And I said something to my friend Matt Visceral, right? Matt says I think it's there, like the old building is still around in his area in Pennsylvania. It was one of these things that MTD made it for Caldor to be sold at Caldor, and I want to say it's like a lightweight, light-duty, consumer grade, you know, homeowner grade type of machine. But they were built really well back in those days. And so that's what I want to show you, and that's what we're going to do a restore on. Not a restore, let's call it a refurbish, restification, repair, service. We got diagnostics to do. We got to figure out what's wrong with it, right? Then we got to fix those things before we can even continue to move forward to get to the point of sort of refurbishing it. So hang in there, guys, and I'll see you guys in a bit. Let's take a look. Hey guys, welcome into the garage, Archer's Garage, and today's the day, right? I got it up here. So, you know, it wasn't a bad machine. It could have been probably fixed. It's got a big crack in the engine block, and we're going to get you in and show you that. So we're going to toss the block, but we are going to take like a lot of the good parts off the block. And there's like all kinds of other parts and on here, and the tires and the tranny, and there's just so much stuff. So we got the bumper in the front, and you know, one of these machines had to go, and well, it's going to be this one. All right, so let's just take a quick look. You can see the crack. See it? And it's coming all the way around. Now, I took the covers off, and I really wanted to take the covers off before we cleaned it, but that just didn't happen. But this is what you see, this acorns dropping. You think, well, how does it get in there? Well, mice are small, and they can bend in all different ways and directions. But this is a problem. Now, I'm going to vacuum this because it's just going all over. But it's a big problem because this is what causes the engines to overheat, guys. This is what makes them, they get too hot, and then, you know, the common problems you think would be seizing, whatever, but not always, right? Aluminum can't handle heat like that, and with vibrations and banging, you know, these are hard to get off. So you have to use something like this. You have to use an impact. This is pretty much the only way. I'm probably going to be in your way, but you'll see. I've already got it to move. Here it goes. I don't want to create more burrs. That's it. I can do the other one. Now, I'll say this, boy, you don't ever want to take off the deck, the cutting deck. Nice rim and tire. I need these tires for another machine. You don't ever want to take that off, this cutting deck. What a nightmare. It's not really made to take it up and down. You would need to pull the tractor up or flip it or something. All right, it's almost out. What a nightmare. You really, there's that huge spring over here. Yeah, you got to make that go boing. I don't even know how you would get that back on. It's kind of silly to even have it. Nobody else has it. What a nightmare. All right, let me try to get the rest of the belts off and everything, and at least it'll be free of this big heavy thing. I would not want to put this back on. Definitely not. Look at all these things that you have to connect to. And the rod that goes through here has to get pulled out. And oh, all right. Let's end it. It's out. So the blades are in good shape. It's actually in really good shape. Talk about making some heavy-duty pulleys. And the bearings seem like they're in good shape, too. Oh, sprinkler. Sprinkler alert. Look at that. It moves so smooth. Right? And it's basically the same as what's on there. Totally overbuilt, but that's how they made things to last. And these bearings are great. So we're going to hold on to this deck until we fix up that machine over there. I'm going to try and pull the tranny next. It's so dirty. I keep sweeping up because it just keeps depositing more and more crap. Even after the pressure washing, it was just so bad. The oil coming out attracted the dirt, and the guy never cleaned it. But we'll go through the motor another time, right? I got a bounty of parts, nuts and bolts, and cool stuff like shafts that are tapped on the ends, and that's a nice shaft for something. There's just so many nice parts you can get off of these things. Bolts, nuts, washers, hardened washers.
Eventually.
These are nice, right? The tractor I'm about to work on now doesn't have this, right? I'll show you what it has. We may want to steal its spindles and everything because these are adjustable and they're proper rod ends. This guy here doesn't have that. Now it has it here, but it doesn't have them down there. And those are much lighter weight, and the other ones are much heavier. That other tractor was made better than this one. It just is. But this is just a cool tractor. I got a coil, but somebody, some rodent chewed at it, but they didn't completely destroy it. But I had to make one recently because of a fire on a tractor that's similar motor. So I can actually fix that, right? I have really nice heat shrink tubing, and we can put dielectric tape on it. Now this is what I really need because that other tractor needs tires. So we got the tires. And these were really nice too. That machine was so nice. The rims, they have bearings in them. So we don't know what's in this one, right? We don't know if the front has bearings or whatever. If it doesn't have bearings, we're going to pull that cap a little bit. We may, like I said, we may want to grab the spindles off of this because they're probably the same and we can convert. So we have that option. I might wind up keeping it just as a cool tractor, a little tractor. I don't have a really big lawn, and if I have my other home light, Jacobson home light. This one's in pretty good shape overall, and I think once we clean it up, let's find out if it runs. This is what I found up underneath the battery box. Should have cleaned in here, but we'll do that another time. This is just laying in there, and these wires are off. So let's start off with cleaning these connectors, and we'll try to set the battery up somehow. We need to prove out the circuit. Somebody's been in here because you could see they've been in the ignition system. So it could be very simple, but I don't know, right? So let me poke around a little bit more. All right, battery was in another tractor. It's like a motorcycle battery. So look at how taut that is, right? I mean, do you think you could be any more frugal with? I don't even think this is a fuel line. I mean, you could play like an E chord on this. Like you just be like, wow wow, gooka gooka, wow wow, gooka gooka, wow wow. Oh, what it is? You know. So you could do. Yeah, I'm fooling around. I'm so tired. I'm like delirious. I'm dead on my feet. This I put there, right, to stop the water from going in. That was smart. A brief moment of non-stupidity. So let me get a container, and this way I can capture it. If I clamp it, oh my God, it's so hard you can't clamp it. All right, it's just gonna spill. Yep, put my finger on it. Yeah, it's old. Oh, that'd be good for my spray gun that I use. I like to clean stuff with old gas. It's that drip, drip, drip. You know, when you get older, you get that. When you're younger, you get that. This is me all night long. Right? Isn't it terrible? I know a lot of you guys are older too. Right? You'll see. You youngins, you'll see. Right? That's going to be you, 2:30 in the morning. Right? Hold on. Honey, you done in there? I got to go. Yeah, all right. Hold on. Wait, almost. Wait, got a little bit more. Hold on. I'll be right there. All right. What's that banging in the bathroom? Nothing, sweetheart. I just gotta. Yeah, I'm almost done. Wait. Hold on. God, I could have been in and out already. Yeah, I know. What are you doing in there? Nothing. All right, I think I'm done. No, wait. All right, we're done. Okay. All right. Isn't that terrible? Let's see what we got. Yeah, it's a little dirty or anything. We'll take that tank out and we'll flush it with the hose. So I'll blow with some compressed air. Yeah, let me take it outside and do that now. Because if we can get this thing to fire and kick, we're going to need a good clean tank. I'm using this tool, right, to clean up the connectors. This really polishes up the connectors quick.
20 minutes later.
So just a quick test. So we got our regular battery here. Just a little gel cell. We don't need much. And this is the relay that I took out of the green machine. And it's missing a terminal for accessory, but I don't think we need it. So by removing, when the person removed the relay, they removed the ground on the relay. So you have to have it grounded. And this is the start terminal. This is what pulls in the coil to make the contacts across the battery for starting. Okay? Now that one works. Now we can also check it here with our ohm meter. We can put our ohm meter on and you'll hear it beep. And we'll do that in a minute. But let's do the same thing to the relay that I just took out. Nothing. So it's dead. Okay? So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to mount this relay in, and I'm going to put this relay somewhere else. And we're going to put it in a better location. I mean, we could put it here. We could do that, but it has to be mounted up against the firewall, and it has to be grounded. And I can see another thing here. I don't know if you can see it, but the insulation, somebody put heat shrink on that terminal. Hold on, put the light on. Somebody put heat shrink on that battery terminal, and it's in the way of it actually making contact. So that needs to be cleaned off, right? So that's another problem. And those two little wires over there, right, those are for interlock, so we could just jump those out for now. These are polished. All right, that's that buzz wheel. Now, I'm basically ready to go. I changed the end. There was a push-on end. There was a socket style. I've used a blade connector. And that is the wire should be coming from the start switch. I sprayed some acid, my Alumabrite acid, on the connectors that go to that switch over there. that connector got changed, right, from a barrel type to blade push on, right? Now we got these guys back here. I don't think you can see. I can't get in. Can you see those? They're just barely dangling there. I got to push those on all the way in the back there. Yeah, there it is, back there, right? It's that black thing. Sprayed that too with, the acid. So if I can hit it with a brush, if I can just get in there with a steel brush and just clean that off a little bit, and I'll plug that in. And then there's a connector here. Now, I don't know what this does. It could be an extra. Doesn't look like it's been plugged into anything. All right, so we're good here. All right, that's the seat switch. So the seat has to be down. Now, I think what we're going to do is we're going to bypass it for now. You want to clean off these areas here. And then what I'm going to use is, I found these bolts from what last project I took apart. These just fit in there perfectly and they'll lock up. All I have to do is tighten it from the one side, and I have a couple of those on the table somewhere. And they got a lock washer, so that'll lock in and definitely ground. You got to have good, what we used to call electrical bonding. All right, well, we still call it that, but all right, let me get that done. All right, we should be ready for a test. So let's see, let's crank it. All right, so let's just give it a check and see what happens. All right, where are we? Nothing. Okay, now, uh-oh, what was that? That was, most likely, that was the solenoid trying to go. So we could have a uh-oh, I don't like that sound. All right, so these two, they go underneath here, and I'll show you from the other side, but right up in here on the other side of that is the switch. I cleaned these up with some brake cleaner and crimped them down carefully, and I put my jumper in because they were loose, right? They weren't making good contact and they were dirty. So let me show you. Basically, you push the clutch in. Now it's in brake mode. See that switch all the way up in there, right? There you go. It's that switch. Let's see if it focuses. All right, so I think that's the only other switch. So I have 12 volts on the black wire. The yellow wire is basically goes over to the ignition. So it should be grounded, okay? And what it's trying to do is ground the ignition. All right, so so how can I explain it? I think what should happen on this one is that when the switch is in the off position, this switch here, contacts will make, and then a ground path from this wire, through the switch to ground. Engine stalls, okay? Black wire has power. One of these is probably lights and or charging circuit here, so black wire, and the other one should be the start, right, to the solenoid. So let's find out. All right, let's plug the ignition switch back in. It's pretty dirty, so something's trying to happen. All right, now what we need to find out something's trying to work. So another thing we can do is let's try and jump it, because the starter could be dead. I doubt it. They don't usually break, but and we could still have a grounding issue. Now, one of the wires I've got disconnected is I have the charging wire disconnected, because they don't want that in the circuit right now. All right, because they could burn it out. It's got a diode in it. So I don't have any power right now. Let's get an affirmative ground, which we'll try the spring in the back. Actually, we'll go right to the battery. Best place to test from. Now, it could have a bad switch too. It could be multiple electrical failures. Somebody might have done something. Somebody's trying to do something. Okay, so we don't have any power over there. So I got to go back into that solenoid somehow. I think we might hear it. Right? It's trying to do something. It shouldn't be doing anything. That's got me a bit concerned. Let me pull the negative wire off. Alright, so I found another interlock, and I got one of the connectors off. Very rusty, stuck. That's not making good contact. And I'm struggling to get this one off. So I'm going to clean this up, and we're going to buzz it out. Alright, that's totally rusted. So we're going to get some cleaner on that. Yeah, well, we can see how bad this is. Alright, now, it could just be the terminals on the outside. And we'll throw it in some tranny fluid. I'm definitely on the right path, because that wire going to the solenoid, that goes to here and has to come through the switch when this is depressed and then gets over to the ignition switch. So we're on the right path. So I'm going to assume that these two are poles on a switch. It should be open. Now let's listen. Good. A little bit dirty, but let's get these two poles now. Alright, so these are normally closed. Okay? That's your ground. I'm thinking these two are the ones that we're concerned about right now. Because when the deck is up all the way, it's pushing on this. Here, it's a little dirty. So we'll figure out the rest of it later. But let me throw this in a little bit of Caro or diesel or something, or tranny fluid, and we'll try to get it blowed out and cleaned up a little bit. And I want to just kind of see if I can clean these contacts a little bit more with something. I'll get a file and I'll go in there and just get that last little bit off. Okay, so the stuff that, a little bit of acid in there. This stuff here, there's a little bit of acid. And I think it's about as clean as it's going to get. Alright, let's move that back. Need a tissue and wipe that up. Yeah, that stuff leaves a zinc coating on it, which is good because you want that. It'll protect it. And then after we get it dried off and blowed, we blow it a little bit. Right? That should, and we'll put, like I was saying, we'll put chain wax on it of all the connectors and put it together again. So I'm going to go clean out the other connectors. Right. Let's let that set in there. And see these little bubbles? So we're going to let the bubbles come up so that we can get that fluid all the way in. And then I'm going to go clean off the other connectors and get them prepped and spray them.
A few moments later.
Alright, let's go put it in. You know, that'll polish up. I'd let it bubbles come out because it's there. I moved it around quite a bit while it was still in the solution. And that's as clean as I'm going to get it. It does function, so if it hits a hiccup because it's hitting a rough spot, we should still be able to kind of move it and then get it to work. But we're going to install it and buzz it out. Alright, we're getting there. Okay, so the switch is installed. I still have the front switch jumped out, and I'm able to trace it back to here, which is, it's this red wire here in the switch. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the wires back on this front deck kill switch over here. I'm going to put those wires back and we'll test it again, and we should be good to go. And then I think what we'll do is we'll test the switch. So we'll test for continuity going around this way, right? We're actually coming from, essentially we're testing from there. We got our clip on that wire that goes to the coil. That should be the start switch, applying power to the solenoid, pulling the solenoid in, sending power for the big B positive wire, right? So we should be okay. Yeah, let me put that in next. I don't know if you can hear it, but there's an adjustment on the cam. There's a little cam that comes over and hits the micro switch, or the switch over there that's underneath, and it wasn't making after I connected it, so I pushed on it and I could hear the beep, right? And then I let go, and nothing. So I loosened it up, 3/8, 7/16, whatever it is. I think it's called 7/16. Moved it over a little bit, and it seems to be fine. So we're okay here now. I want to try the switch out. Nothing. Could be multiple failures. You know, the switch could be bad too. Obviously, it is multiple failures. So, all right, let's plug the battery in and see what happens before I get too stuck on this. Let's do that next. Okay, battery's plugged in. All of the two micro switches, they're in play. Okay, it's connected over here, and the seat cut off. I got a piece of tape, masking duct tape, so that it's not grounding out. Okay, so now it's not going to start, but let's just see. What do we get? Now, I didn't plug in. Did I plug it? I don't know if I plugged that wire in that goes over to the starter motor. All right, we need to get some spray in that. Hold on. And I got this stuff, our chain wax on the connectors, and everything's cleaned, and we buzzed it. And we're not getting anything. Now, I still get that sound, right? That scares me. Now we're gonna plug this in. We haven't done that yet. Yeah, that's making a sound over there. Something's going on. We could have a problem with this switch. Nope. Still nothing. Now, let's see if we have power on anything. All right, we're gonna go back to DC volts. Negative terminal of the battery. The battery has juice in it. And I'll tell you what I get. Okay. Now on this black wire I got 12 volts. Good. I shouldn't really have anything anywhere else. Now if we jump out these two connectors, we should get something. Now I know which red wire it is, and we're going to go from the black wire right across these two terminals. Hear it? That's a good sign. All right, now maybe the battery isn't strong enough, but maybe the starter motor's dead. So what we can do now is disconnect the starter motor, and we're going to check for power on that lead, because it could be a dead solenoid. All right, the solenoid could be pulling in, but it could still be dead. So we're going to pull this off over here, and I'll get back to you in a minute. Okay, got the positive wire, positive lead, or the red lead of the meter, over on the wire going over to the starter motor. Disconnected the starter motor, right, from the starter motor. And I got my negative lead on the negative battery. And solenoid pulling in, we get 12.54 volts. Perfect, right? Okay, now that means there's something wrong with the starter motor. And another thing we want to check is why this isn't working. Now this might be burned out, or it may need a ground lead. Could have a problem with the switch too, right? Multiple failures. I may have another switch. Okay. Okay, let's see if I have another switch. I think I have one handy. Handy. Remember, if the women don't find you handsome, at least let them find you handy. Let's try this. Okay. Okay, so now we have a good switch. So this switch is bad. All right, so we also, and there's another failure, okay? So the switch is bad. Now we got to come down to the starter motor. So we got to understand what's going on with that. So let's turn this off. And I don't know if the other starter motor I pulled out of the motor will fit, but let me go poke at that. Cleaned up the connection on starter motor, put it back, lubed it up, put some lube in here. There you go. Okay, and it should shut off. All right, now we should have spark, but let's just put a little bit of juice in. So we've got that sorted. All right, yay, yay. So we're done with that. We'll fix it up later, right? We'll remount the switch and all that a little bit later. And so let's just put a little bit of juice down in the engine. And the oil is good enough for now. I got to clean up in here too, but try some two-stroke because we haven't run this motor, so we don't, we don't want to make it worse. We'll just, this will pour it out, right? Because there's a hole there. Let's just give it a kick and see what happens. Now, we may not have a spark, okay, because we may be grounding out the engine. So let's pull the plug and see what it looks like. And worst case scenario is we take all this cowling off and everything later on. But let me go pull the plug and let's take a look at that. She's wet, very wet.
Ooh la la.
So let me clean a plug, but we're going to check the spark. No, I'm not seeing a spark. Oh, another thing we could do is disconnect this wire. All right, I'm going to take off this wire here so that we're not grounding that. Okay, so this should be the coil ground. And the coil could be bad. Could have been a mouse got up in there and ate the coil like the last one. We're going to take that cover off anyway. I'm not seeing anything. All right, let's get this cover off. It's probably filthy in there. Take the cover off, and then at some point, I guess we'll pull the carb off too. So let me work on that. Yeah, that don't look good. It just don't look good at all. You don't usually see that. The potting is like blowed out. All right, so probably bad coil. Let's get that coil off, and we'll clean the magnet. Right, we'll get the magnet cleaned up, and let's see if I have another coil. I might. Right, I broke that boss. Oh, somebody's totally been in here. All right, let's get this cleaned up a little bit. We'll come back in here and we'll clean this if it runs well, but we got to check the compression on it too. Somebody's been borking on it. Now let's set up, and we're going to do a coil test.
Few inches later.
Okay, let's set up. That might work. All right, so what we're doing is we're going to clip it onto the steel. All right, and we want to check the secondary winding. All right, we're going to stick it right into the coil, into the plug wire. Nothing. Wide open. And you can see by the condition of the coil, somebody beat this up. Now we're also going to go here to the igniter circuit. 3.5 ohms. It's almost a short. Right? It shouldn't be that much different, but the problem is here. That's borked, and you could see the condition of the coil. It's also an old machine, but something happened in there. I wonder if something got hit. All right, let me see if I can find another coil to work with. So I just checked this in ohms, and I auto range it, but we're looking for maximum should be 6,000 ohms. What you have is like infinite right now, right? It's just a full open. So about 4,000 ohms would be great. Let's find another coil and we'll measure that. All right, so here's the coil I took out of the junker with the beat motor. It's filthy, I know. Everything on that thing was just ridiculous. So we're clamping onto the steel. We're going to go into the plug. Here we go. 4.6 thousand ohms. Right, perfect. Okay, and we'll check it to here. Right, 2.44 ohms. Right, that's good. All right, so but the problem with it is this, but I can fix that. Let me get this cleaned up. It's a little long too, but we could probably cut it. Hold on. So I got tape on it, just electrical tape. Right, I built it up good where it was chewed. Took the end off, and now I got some nice heat shrink, and that'll keep it on, and it'll add another dielectric layer. All right, I did this with another one that I have outside, and it works fine. I have another machine outside that I need to finish up too, but I got that engine running. Basically the same engine. They're all basically the same, right? These two are for the most part the same. All right, well, this one didn't have a correct, I don't know what was going on with that. That's what I found inside the boot. Let's tighten it up. And it'll tighten up more when the engine gets hot. So the tape's not going to come off. This isn't going to come off, and it won't leak electrical, voltage. It won't leak the signal, as we say. I got a decent pair of ignition pliers like they're for wires. I had to really try to bend this back with my pliers because somebody had just flattened it and just squoze it with a pair of regular pliers. You don't really want to do that. So we're going to put it in here and see if we can get it to crimp the way it's supposed to crimp. I think it's working. They're not the best pair, but that should make a better crimp. Yeah, it's kind of working. Yeah, it's basically doing it. It's starting to lap on itself, overlap. Get this end here. That's it. Oh yeah, that's good. That ain't gonna go more. And just strip the wire back carefully. And then fold it on. I twist it and then fold it underneath so it makes contact with here. And then we'll put a little bit of, where's my juice? Just to make it easier to slip on. That's my 2-stroke. Or this one's just old gas with tranny fluid. Now, is it in exactly the right position? Who knows, right? Who cares? The wire will let us bend it. All right, let's put this back, and I'll take care of a few other things, and then we could try to see if we could start it.
Many tic-tacs later.
Just give the magnet a quick cleaning, and then the standoffs, because you want a really good ground. All right, now what I'm going to do now is plug it back in. We're going to gap it to 10 thousandths. And we should be good. All right, just a quick test. All right, I reconnected this wire. I'm going to peek in there and see if we have any spark. Oh yeah. We got nice spark. Let me show you. See it? Probably saw it. All right, next step. Let me do a compression test.
Moments later.
All right, moment of truth. Well, one of the moments. It's over here, but I'm just going to read it out to you, whatever we get. Oh boy, she's arcing. Hold on. Yeah, she's got spark. All right, I'm not seeing anything. I'm not getting anything. Let's see. Now we're going to put another gauge in it. Sometimes the gauges don't lock in, and it could be hard to get a seal here. So I'm going to put a different gauge in and see. But even still, we'll put some juice in it and we'll fire it. Right? I'll clean the plug out. Because for whatever reason, it's hard to get over here. I'll try again. That's why I keep two, because it just happens sometimes. I don't know. Maybe they're just getting old, or I can't quite get a seal in this, but let's find out. Should have something. It's blowing out the exhaust. I put some 2-stroke in it. But it's blowing something out the exhaust. It's blowing the 2-stroke on it. All right, let me clean a plug. We'll throw a plug in. We've got spark, so let's just blap it over and see. Could have a stuck valve or a blown head gasket. Let me stand to the side, right, so I don't get shot by the muffler. Shot with some ether. Oh yeah. Well, she could be waking up. trying. Alright. Let's do the carburetor. We're waking up. There it goes. Let's let it run out. Yeah, the throttle works, but it didn't want to do it. Let's just put a little bit more in. We'll rev it up a little bit. That's still 2-stroke, so. Yay! Yeah, let's get that carburetor off. Nice. These old 8 to 10 horsepower brakes. They're like 10. Must be running off what's in the bowl. That thing ran a long time. All right, let's get the carb off. All right, we'll get it up on. I'm going to clean up in here too a little bit. Let me shut this off. All right, yeah, hey, all right, we did good. All right, so now we're just, like I said, let me get in there and see what's going on with it, and we'll get the fuel system back up properly. And it should be good to go, and I got to re-clean that plug. I just did a quickie. But she ran pretty good. We'll be back. Okay, everybody, thanks for watching part 1, right? So we got everything else kind of sorted out on this thing. At least we have it running, but we still have a lot to do. So stay tuned for the next part in the series. We're going to continue with this tractor and just keep going until it's pretty much done and minted out. And then we'll see what happens to it. All right, I'll see you guys in the next one. Arch's Garage.